morning, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday Roundup. How are you, Greg?
I'm doing fine. How are you, Mags?
I'm doing great.
Excellent.
You're a little bit more orange than me today.
I am, yes. This is a very bright orange. This is, again, my math conference one.
Well, you know what? When you go to Roots Tech and you see the WikiTree wall of orange walking towards you, you go around. You give WikiTree a wide berth because, it's just all this orange. You think there's an emergency going on because of all the orange.
All the orange, eh?
John Tyner's here. Hey, John. John Tyner said he just lost his cousin, and I'm very sorry about that. But I have a comment to make about John Tyner's cousin and his relationship to them when I do the question of the week. So we'll see about that. Sharon Haynes is here from Alabama. Hey, Betsy Co. Let's see. John Tyner and Betsy Co. are talking a lot. Now, Hillary Gadsby. Some rain and overcast Wales. Christy Miller's here. Janine is here. Let's see. Chris Ferriello. Team Italian. Now, I saw where Chris Ferriello got a Team Italy mug.
Uh-huh. Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I see you looking around your table there. Yeah. No? You didn't get one?
Oh, I did.
Oh,
it's it's in the cupboard.
Yeah, and for what? The Sourceathon's coming up soon, right?
The Sourceathon is coming up, yeah. So we should sign up and everything, yes.
Yeah. Melissa Fleischman's here. Let's see. June Budka. Hey, June. Let's see. Who else is here? Susan Anderson. One problem about extending your family tree and meeting more cousins is that you end up having more to lose. That's the John Tyner. Everybody's giving virtual hugs to John this morning. Jory Jordan is here. Let's see. K Knight. Hey, Kay.
Hey.
Lisa Gervais. Bonjour, Lisa. Lisa, I went to Bridgehead this week, and I went in to get a ice cold frozen Frappuccino. They changed to their fall menu and would not serve me one. I was heartbroken. Tommy Buck from the Bayou State. Mary Todd Allen. You sound like you would be a cousin of mine. Got to look that up.
She's from North Carolina.
Oh, is she?
Yes.
Oh, you're right. She is. My Allens were from Virginia to Lawrence, South Carolina. Karen Lowe. Hey, Karen. How are you? Karen, I talk about you every time I give one of my talks. And I gave one of those talks to the North Ireland Family History Society. So, let's see. Oh, and look at Karen's already trying to make connections with Mary. Ooh, what region of North Carolina? Donna Gerber is here. Let's see. Have we gone through all of it?
Cheryl?
Cheryl says, hi, Mags and Greg. Weather here in Cheshire, UK is overcast. Glad to have time to catch up this live. Normally, I watch it later. Well, thank you so much, Cheryl. We're glad to have you here. Yes, I do talk about you, Karen Lone Tobo. I do. Because you helped find my uncle. Yes, you did. Okay, so let's see. Last time that Sarah was gone, she was alligator wrestling.
Yes.
And this time she's
long weekending it.
She's long weekending it, but we got to think of something more colorful. I think she's dancing in a cabaret somewhere. There we go.
Ooh, okay.
And C. Tabor Fisher just came in from Syracuse. Hey, I'm about 4 hours north of you. All right. So I was going to say about the 6 degrees or the cousins that are 6th or 7th cousins. Lots of interesting answers today in our questions of the week. It's kind of hard to switch this when you're on one screen. There you go. The question of the week: has researching your genealogy changed your view of yourself? Now, I work on a little project here with homeless people, and a part of that project is to give people who don't have a great deal of sense of self a sense of identity, a sense of a belonging, a sense of self, and which helps increase self-esteem and helps reduce some of the bad behaviors or the bad behavior repetitions that some people get into. So has researching your genealogy changed how you view yourself? And one of the things that was a common thread in today's question of the week, or this week's question of the week, was that it helped give them an idea of who they were, how they fit, where they are in the world as far as their family goes. So over on Facebook, we had a couple of good answers, or a lot of good answers. Mary very much proved that I'm a mongrel. That from Leslie Hannah Murray. No true blood here, and I suspect that goes for the bulk of the population in good old England where I live. Deb Jackson Denani. Yes, very humbling. My roots go deep into this country, back to colonial days, and I'm assuming she's talking about the Americas. My ancestors had great courage. Gail Ivy, interesting question. Never gave it a thought, but I think it has, because I never used to talk to a lot of my cousins when I was younger, but now when we meet for an annual reunion, we get started talking about family history, and I feel connected to them. That made me think of John Tyner right there a bit. Diane Hood, I now know that I have a much broader history than I once thought. Judy Latham, they were the best of ancestors and the worst of ancestors.
That's a great
line of a novel, right?
Yeah.
Some were famous pillars of society. Some were murdered. One was hanged. Some make me extremely proud, and some make me cringe with shame. That almost sounds like a poem.
Yes.
Oh, I gotta accept them all. They're family. We are family. Apparently, my family has the wrong surname. That's an interesting one from Andrew Beard.
Yeah.
Yes, I wish I had known about it sooner. It would have made my life easier. Therefore, I wouldn't have put up with the bull crap that I encountered in school and business. That's interesting. Sounds like a big story there. You should write that up, Dawn. Let's see. There's a big one here. Darlene Wolf Cobrick said, so many things that changed the way I think about my family. I thought we were simple farmers. I thought we were German and Dutch. But there's a big mix. Fine, upstanding citizens I thought we were, and who never did anything remotely scandalous. And then enjoyed finding out that my answers were very, very human after all. Finding out you were human is a big answer in this too. Spent many years thinking I was Polish American from Buffalo, New York, which is partially correct. The other really good thread through all this stuff is figuring out puzzles. I like to figure out puzzles. So we genealogists are puzzle crackers. My grandmother said many puzzling things. Grandma Baisley, your grandfather likes mustard on his hot dogs because of his German ancestors. She's found pilgrims, patriots, loyalists, veterans, but not a German among the bunch. Let's see. Patty Woodgett Keffer. I'm a proud survivor from a long line of survivors. And Gregory Morris says, wow, if this question doesn't strike at the heart of genealogy, I don't know what does. Yes, probably ways I don't fully understand. One thing's for sure, it's given me a door to communicating to complete strangers. I so agree with that. I can meet somebody on the street. I don't know about you, Greg, but I can strike up a conversation with them. What's your heritage? And that could offend people.
Yes.
No,
that's right.
Your heritage. But usually I can get around to that question, and then we spend hours talking. Yeah. Grandparents, realizing that your heritage is your grandparents, and sometimes that your treasure is the people that are still living that you can talk to. Yes, 100% from Wendy. Understand the life cycles of living, life, and death now. And yeah, sometimes you don't have a concept also of, like, the 1920s doesn't seem that far away from me. So I was born in the 60s, and I grew up with people who lived in the 20s. And I heard stories. But 1900 seems like a long time ago, and that was only 20 years before. So doing genealogy gives you a perspective of time as well. Let's go over to the G2G post. 24 answers. And Marty Frank, who spent a lot of time going through and talking to a lot of people about their answers this week, has chose our best answer of the week. Absolutely. In September, I will be 78, and family history keeps my brain active. That's another common thread.
That's a good thing.
We like doing puzzles. We like meeting cousins. We like talking to people. And we think that it helps our brains. My mom does crosswords all the time. Do you guys do crosswords or anything like that to try and keep your brain trained?
Yeah, we do crosswords. I do Sudoku and lots of stuff like that. Yeah.
And I do Sudoku too. But do you think that genealogy is in that same vein of keeping you young?
Oh yeah, that's what it's a huge puzzle. In fact, one of the profiles has a little piece of that, and I'll get to talk about that actually.
We'll segue into that.
That
was a great answer. And she also says that on WikiTree there are a lot of opportunities to work on many facets of genealogy. I feel like that's a skill that I have a lot of success doing. It makes me feel my self-worth. And Virginia Fields is talking about it. Alexis is talking about that. Another person, Alexis, says she'll be. And the other thing that I noticed in this specific thread on G2G is a lot of these people are 77, 78, 79 years old that are answering these questions, which I thought. So, let me see. I have important messages come through. Let's see. Susan Anderson said, I would say probably not, although I've had considerable surprise from what I've turned up. Grandfather was one of those keepers of the family history for our branchlet of the tree. I like that word.
Branchlet.
I don't know that you'd call what she did something was formal as genealogy, but she kept notes and data to keep track of the stories handed down for generations. She reached out to cousins for more data, and how she presented the information to her descendants had a lot to do with how I view myself and how I view the ancestors. See, she frequently told the story of how she got started with this and how she was a young faculty wife confronted with a clique of other faculty wives who snubbed her because she was from rural eastern Washington state while they were DAR members. So she enlisted the help of an interested cousin in working together. From family stories, they traced and documented as well they could all the ancestors until she could apply for the DAR. Take that, you snooty ladies.
Yes.
That's from Susan Anderson. Got a couple of good comments on that. In a small way, I had half my story missing, not knowing who my father was or anything about my paternal tree, which was a complete blank. 7th generation New Zealander with English, Irish, Scottish, Welsh, Danish, and a little Maori, which would be cool. Do you wake up, if you have a little Maori, do you wake up in the morning making that face? Anyway, so that's pretty cool. And a lot of the thread today is talking about not only did finding genealogy help them with their identity and their self-worth and their self-esteem and give them puzzles to do, WikiTree did it too. Yep, WikiTree. Gonzalo Alonso. No, I still see me the same way, and I identify with being a white Argentinian. And yeah, genealogy confirmed this too. So that was the most boring answer.
Oh no, poor Alonso
of the day. Oh, I'm so sorry, Gonzalo. It's really not boring. It's just a lot of people did say no, it didn't affect me. It didn't change anything. I knew who I was before I started. I know who I am now. It did change my life as much as it changed my dad's life, essentially an orphan with no family to rely on. As an older adult, he came across the Tyler genealogy, Brigham 1912, in a library. It changed his life, for in these 2 volumes were 7,000 of his relatives. You know what he did? He spent the rest of his life adding 3,000 more names to volume 3 and published them.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Yes, absolutely. From Andrea Johnson, thanks to WikiTree, famous cousins and everything else. Bill Hull says that genealogy has helped me to understand everybody faces challenges in life, some more than others. I've had my own share of life's difficulties, sometimes leading to feelings of depression and despair. Learning more about my recent ancestors, the trials they endured, and their courage and perseverance has provided me with encouragement and faith in my own abilities. A little bit serious tone here, really switching that up. Bill, thank you for being so honest and open, but also about how honest and open you are about how genealogy can sometimes not only lift our well-being and self-esteem, but also make us live life better. So that's pretty cool. Thank you, Bill.
Mhm.
Lots more great answers. Let's see. Trying to remember more of these. If you want to, let's see, June Bootka. Let's do this. Yes, June says, knowing that my ancestors survived through multiple challenges, crossing an unknown ocean into a wilderness away from their homeland, meeting unknown indigenous peoples and multiple diseases, showed me that I have the strength in me to face my challenges with strength, faith, and hope for a better future. Isn't that a great way to end the question?
That's fantastic.
You want to go through and read them. There's some more, lots of
Mhm.
great more things like Marty Axe realizing how fun it's been to track down notables. Go and check things out. If you want to check that out, please do. That's the question of the week.
That's
Greg,
neat.
we had a great segue for you.
Yes, you did.
Do you remember what it was?
Well, yes, it was about doing puzzles. And so there was, as you were talking, people were doing a few things about how genealogy changed their concept or relatives that they had discovered. But then they segued into the puzzles, and they were sharing different puzzles. And Kay asked if anyone had found the jigsaw puzzle on the app. And so lots of people said they like it. And Lisa
Where's
said
the jigsaw puzzle?
There's a jigsaw puzzle on the iPad, apparently. It's an app on the iPad.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I thought
Lisa
there was
does a 550-piece puzzle every day.
WikiTree.
Anyways, but not surprising that Kay does things to keep her mind busy. She just came out with another update to her BioCheck app this week. So
she was telling me, she mentioned it when we were switching off. She's the ranger after me during our ranger shifts. And so, yeah, she mentioned that to me.
Yeah, she's put a lot of work into that. It's very impressive. Yeah. So cool stuff there. But our question of the week this week is, which educator are you most closely connected to? And I think that's tied because it's now, at least in North America, it's time to go back to school. Some schools have already started. In Ontario, kids go back to school this coming week. And so it's September, fall, and in our hemisphere anyways, it's the time to get back to school. So, and our opening one is Maria Montessori.
I thought that was apropos.
Yeah, I think it's a great theme for this week. So, the lead profile, Maria Montessori, Dr. Maria Tecla Artemisia Montessori, born on 31st of August, 1870 in Chiaravalle, Ancona Marche, Italia, daughter of Alessandro Montessori and Rinaldo Stopani. She lived to 81 and died in May of 1952 in Noordwijk, Zuid-Holland in Netherlands, Holland. She's best known, of course, for her approach to education, and Montessori schools are, there's many of them in Canada and in the US, I believe, and all over the world. But she was the first woman to become a medical doctor in Italy. I don't know if you knew that. And so she was much more than the founder of an educational approach. She opened her an approach that is still thriving after she opened her first school, or after a century. She was a biologist, a naturalist, a psychiatrist, and physician who significantly influenced education and attitudes towards children, particularly towards early childhood education. And throughout her life, she was committed to the well-being of all children, especially those with cognitive challenges, to the rights of women, and also to working class people. She campaigned for peace and for education as the vehicle by which world peace could be achieved. So here's the puzzle that I was talking about. So one thing I really like about this profile is, so it gives her birth record, and it gives you the original birth record in Italian. Now, this is the transcription, so it's written up in nice text. But I can tell you from doing a lot of Italian research myself that these records are very difficult to read. The handwriting, the chicken scratch that they're done in is kind of challenging. But when you boil it down to the actual text, there is the original Italian. And what's also neat about this profile is they've also given you the same. They've translated it directly into English, so you can see one from the other. And this Italian record, birth record, is very similar in nature to the types of birth records or baptismal records you'd find in Quebec parish registers or French records. similar to the Spanish baptism or birth records that the WikiTree challengers looked up during the JLo challenge, WikiTree challenge a week or so ago, because they all follow similar formats. And once you figure out the format, then deciphering what it is, even if you're not a fluent reader of that language, is basically just a puzzle, because you just look for keywords, and then from there you pick out the important information from it. So that was the connection that I was making. That and when I first joined WikiTree and was expanding my French Canadian roots, though I'm quite fluent in reading French, but it was still a jigsaw puzzle, finding things and finding out the formula and picking out the information. So it's kind of cool. So that was the connection I was making to your jigsaw puzzle. But it's interesting how they do it. And so in the Italian records, they record the day that the person comes into the office. And then the public official always has to get his name in there first and describe why he's so important that they're talking to him about this record. And then so it says the person who appeared before me, and then how they're connected. The neat thing, like, look at this. So this is the birth record for Maria. It gives her parents' names, of course, because the father is the one who came in to register, but also the grandparents' names are right there. So this one record is just a treasure trove of information. So that's why I like these types of records. Anyways, I digress. Going back to Maria and herself, she attended elementary school and obtained moderate results, gained admission to other schools. And despite her good results in those other schools, the Scuola Tecnica Michelangelo and the Scuola Reggio Istituto Tecnico Leonardo da Vinci, there wasn't a foregone conclusion that she could go to university, even though she did so well, because women didn't typically go back then. But she overcame that hurdle and did so, and then went on to study medicine and introduce the Montessori approach, which provides an interdisciplinary, child-centered, and discovery-based approach to learning. That's sort of it in a nutshell. So moving on, the next profile, very impressive, Mary Jane McLeod, born to Samuel McLeod and Patsy McIntosh, married Albertus Bethune, and she's part of the U.S. Black History Project. She was born in South Carolina in 1875. She was the 15th of 17 children.
And there's a picture of all of them right there. No, I'm just kidding.
You'd think so, eh? No. But she was born in 1875. So her parents, Samuel McLeod and Patsy McIntosh, and her oldest brothers and sisters were slaves before emancipation, when the Union won the Civil War, which is in the 1860s, and I don't know the year. You will tell me the exact year. It's before 65, was it?
What's that?
The end of the Civil War.
Oh no, it was March of 65.
It was 65. Okay. Because I knew it was right before the Canada became a country in 1867. So
it was 1865, and if I look at I can tell you the exact. I think it was March the 23rd. I don't remember exactly the day.
Okay.
I just know when Lee came through Camden, the day before he came through, my fourth great grandfather passed because he was in Camden in a hospital.
So in her early years, Mary McLeod Bethune picked cotton and attended a Methodist mission school. She received a scholarship to go to Scotia Seminary in North Carolina. And after graduating there, she enrolled in the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago. And she wanted to become a missionary to Africa, but then discovered that African Americans were not selected to go there for such assignments, which is curious to me, but I'm not sure what the reasoning for that would be.
April of 65.
April 65. Okay.
Sorry.
And she became a teacher in several Presbyterian schools in Georgia and South Carolina. They only had one child, and then she moved to Florida. Realized that workers that were brought in to construct the railway needed schools, so she opened a school. Only had a few students at first, She raised funds, ran the school, taught the students, and it grew. And it grew and it grew. She introduced industrial training and religious instruction. It was supported in part by whites, including Northerners with Summer Holmes. Gamble from Procter & Gamble was there, as well as Thomas H. White from the White Sewing Machine Company. She added nursing classes and a hospital. And then it became affiliated with the church. It joined with a men's school in the area. She became president, and she was involved in other organizations extending her interest in opportunities for young African Americans, even beyond that. So she had quite an accomplished life and made quite an impact. Then we have Christopher Columbus Langdale, born in 1826 in New Boston, New Hampshire, son of John Langdale and Lydia Beard, and lived till 80, passed away in 1906 in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And his contribution as a teacher was for lawyers. He created the case method of law school education that is used today to develop attorneys. As the dean of Harvard Law School, he redid the curriculum of how they teach law. Up until then, it was a Socratic lecture method solely, and he introduced the idea of teaching via a case method. So you present a case, and then you study how that case goes, and it provides a lot more opportunity for interaction with the students and with debate, and really is a much more realistic way of learning. And so that was his contribution, which is huge when you consider how it changed education for lawyers. And having been a teacher and a consultant at the board office, I know how difficult it is to bring new changes to curriculum and try to suggest new ways of teaching and whatnot. So very impressive. The next person is William Holmes Mcguffey. Now, are these names new to you, Mags? Because all of these names, except for Maria Montessori, were new to me.
Some of them are new to me. Like this guy is new to me, but not all of them. No.
Oh, okay.
I had actually heard of the lady from Maysville.
Okay.
Because I had a friend from Maysville.
Oh, neat.
It was Vic on her, so yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Oh, well, there's one near the end that's very famous. Helen Keller's teacher, but most of these are new. So William Holmes Mcguffey, born on the 23rd of September in 1800 in Findlay Township, Washington, Pennsylvania, or Washington County, I guess, in the state of Pennsylvania. Son of Alexander William Mcguffey and Anna Holmes, lots of brothers and sisters there. Passed away at the age of 72 in 1873. He was an author, an educator, and along with his brother, he wrote the Mcguffey Readers while a professor at Miami University. He served as president of Cincinnati College and president of Ohio University, and served as president of Woodward College, and became professor of philosophy. So he did a lot of higher learning in that regard. But it's because of his Mcguffey Readers, I think, that he had the biggest impact on education, because those were basically readers and primers that were used extensely in those years in American education. And I opened up a Wikipedia article on it. So this is what they look like. And let's see if I click on that. So this is an example of the early primer reader. A boy I see. Boy, I see a boy. I see a boy. So that's the early version. And he had lots. So that would be the first reader, the eclectic first reader for young children with pictures. So people just learning to read. And it went all the way the gamut to the first eclectic reader, the primer. And so if you zoom in, I don't know, there we go. Zoom in close, if that's even legible. But so this is a fifth reader, so potentially a grade 5 level reader. And not only is it giving text for people to read and practice their reading, but this it sort of has a bit of a morality.
There's math going on.
Well, there is some this potato, there is some math going on, I'm sure, in some of the stuff, but this one's actually more of a morality play, because the whole lesson 32, XXXXII.
And you have to learn Roman numerals right there.
There's the math, right? XXXII. There's the math. And the topic for lesson 32 is control your temper. Pronounce correct. Oh, so it says pronounce correctly and articulate distinctly. So they give you hints on how to read properly. And then here's the first lesson in controlling your temper. No one has a temper naturally so good that it does not need attention and cultivation, and no one has a temper so bad but that by proper culture it may become pleasant. One of the most disciplined tempers ever seen was that of a gentleman who was naturally quick, irritable, rash, and violent, but by having the care of the sick, and especially of deranged people, he so completely mastered himself that he was never known to be thrown off his guard.
That's pretty morality.
Isn't that?
Morality. Karen Lowe wants you to show the Wikidata link from Mcguffey back to WikiTree.
What's that? The Wikidata?
Link from Mcguffey back to WikiTree.
Oh. So at the bottom. Oh, so how did I get there? Is that I clicked on it was inside. Oh, where was it here? Talked about the Mcguffey. Completes. Where did I find that link? Mcguffey text. Oh, where did I find that link? It was somewhere.
From Wikipedia, Greg.
From Wikipedia?
Yeah, from Wikipedia back to. There you go.
Oh, that's what you want?
Yes. Not what I want. It's what Karen Lowe wants.
Okay. That there is the wiki. Okay. I hope that's what you're. Yeah. Anyway, so I thought that was interesting, but on a personal level, I actually have collected some old primers and books. So this is the Ontario High School Reader, which is an old textbook from that would have been used in the 20s and 30s. And has some notes in it. Another Ontario School Reader, and I've got an old public school arithmetic book. So I kind of collect all those old things too. So that was very interesting to me. Moving on, we have Ellen Katarina Moberg or Mowbray from St. Olai, Norrköping, Östergötland, and Sverige. Now, I went on a Swedish pronunciation website to figure out the proper way to pronounce some of these, and I messed that one up. That's Norrköping. Yeah. Anyways, but Moberg, which is the last name here, I thought would have pronounced Moberg, but the Swedish pronunciation site said it was pronounced more Mowbray, like the G makes more of a Y sound.
See, they're just trying to trip you up.
I know, but that seems so weird to me. So if there's any Swedish speakers in the audience, if they can confirm that is right, that you would actually pronounce it Mowbray, that would be kind of cool, because it just seems wild to me. But anyways, Ellen and her sister Maria founded the first Swedish training school for kindergarten teachers in 1909, 10 years after they had opened the first small-scale kindergarten in their hometown of Norrköping. They had a broad foundation in their schooling in Sweden and had both studied abroad in the tradition of Pestalozzi and Froebel. They also kept abreast with the ideas of Maria Montessori, our first profile. And they worked closely as a team, but Ellen seems to be the one who took more responsibility for promoting their ideas. So they were the ones who basically introduced the idea of kindergarten and trained other teachers on how to teach kindergarten. So very cool. Moving on, Celestia Susanna Parish, born in 1853 in Swansonville, Virginia, daughter of William F. Perkins Parish and Lucinda Jane Walker, died in 1918 at the age of 64 in Clayton, Georgia. She is known as Georgia's greatest woman. an inspiring woman both in the field of psychology and in education. She was known as the teacher who taught herself and was able to teach at universities when other women were not even allowed to enroll. So she had a very difficult upbringing. She was by 8 years old, both of her parents had passed away, so she was an orphan. She was sent to live with an uncle and two maiden aunts. Oh, gotta get hush. What'd you get?
Then again.
Okay. My brother is at the door, and our dog is going crazy. So,
scroll up on that profile a minute.
Yeah.
Greg.
There we go. Georgia's greatest woman. So not only did she, so she, despite all of her challenges, she taught herself enough to go to. She actually started teaching at a school, and then she eventually made it to university. And she taught at university before women were even allowed to enroll in the course that she was teaching in. She became a pioneer in psychology, advocate for female higher education, tireless dedication. So it's a very long and impressive profile, and I recommend you.
And she's from a county where a bunch of my family's from
Georgia.
Raven.
So you got Georgia relatives as well?
Oh my gosh, yes. Raven. Yep. Oh yeah. Your closest in all of this is Emma Willard, by the way.
Oh, is it?
She's 17 degrees. My closest, let me get back over to my profile real quick. My closest is it's Celeste Parish.
Oh.
Which makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
It does. It does, in fact, yes.
And John Tyner was noticing that the new Appalachian project had some stickers in there.
Yes.
Showing up. Yeah.
Yes, there we are. Associated with Appalachia. Yeah.
Yeah. I should have one of those on mine just because I should be an Appalachian notable, right?
Yes, definitely. Most definitely. So then we also have Catherine Rebecca Pettit, daughter of Benjamin Pettit and Clara and Barbie. She was an American educator and activist, best known for her pioneering work with settlement schools. So along with May Stone, she founded the Hindman Settlement School in 1902.
More Appalachians.
In Appalachia, yeah. So this is kind of neat. So here's a neat map, a map of Kentucky. So she was born in Kentucky. I didn't say that, did I? Fayette County. Actually passed away in Fayette County, living with her sister, I believe, at the time. So someone has created this nice map of Kentucky with all the counties listed. All the light yellow ones there are the Appalachian ones. And the red is the Fayette where she was born. And these other three ones are where important other events or universities or places in her profile take place.
We do have a WikiTree person lurking again, and I'm assuming it's Mindy Silva.
Ooh.
I'm assuming that, and if so, she's probably looking at this and nodding and giving us props. You should join us, Mindy, if you're really back there.
Yeah, come along. So I love maps, so I thought that was a very cool addition to this. She was designated an outstanding citizen of Kentucky. So we have the Georgia Woman of the Year, or Georgia, the most important, what was the title again? Most important Georgia Woman, outstanding citizen of Kentucky. Some pretty high level people here for the profiles of the week. So she founded this settlement school, and I had never heard of what a settlement school was before. Had you heard that term before, Mags?
I have not heard that term before, no. Well,
I looked it up on WikiTree because this is actually a link to that WikiTree article. This is actually, there's a one-place study all about this settlement school. So very cool. One-place studies are very cool. And this was just started last month in August, just a few weeks ago. But you wouldn't know it just started a few weeks ago because this is an amazing and very extensive free space page that's been put together. Very impressive. So basically,
what is the settlement school?
It's called the Hindman Settlement School.
But what is a settlement school?
So a settlement school is a school where people. Where is it here? So in 1880s, it came from England. The idea came from England, and then moved over. And so inspired by these ideas, they saw similar needs. So what it is blah, 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 blah. It's a place where they bring people together and they build lots of, not just a schoolroom, but other things to.
May Stone is a cousin, not an ancestor, direct ancestor, but she's one of my cousins.
Is she? Oh, neat.
Yeah,
Okay,
she
so the
is.
school, it not only provides just a schoolhouse where they just teach, the basics. It provides a community center for the county, offering healthcare clinics, social clubs, a library, an extension service, a department of fireside studies to assist in marketing craft work. And by the 1920, the school had over 100 residents and 250 day students. It expanded from 3 acres to 230 acres with 14 buildings. It provided classes in industrial education, agriculture, carpentry, dairying, mechanics, and woodwork for boys, cooking, home nursing, laundry, sewing, and weaving for girls. And this particular one is one of the few that's still in existence today. But it changed the nature of rural areas because it provided education in outflung areas where there just wasn't something like that before. So sounds very impressive. And this free space page itself is impressive. It gives a list of all the notable peoples who are part of it: directors, teachers, nurses.
Susan Anderson has an interesting comment. She says, I grew up with Settlement Cookbook. Later found out that it came from this movement, teaching immigrant women how to cook with the new ingredients found in the U.S.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. So moving on to across the ocean to France. Marie-Claire Sylvestre, daughter of Charles Emile Sylvestre and Angelique Anne Papot, born in 20th of April 1835 in Brest, Finistère, Bretagne, France, and died on the 30th of March 1905 in London, England. She is the daughter of a writer and his wife, and she was known under the name Nanine Sylvestre. At the age of 30, she created, along with Caroline Dussault, who was her life partner, a school for young girls from upper-class families, Les Ruches. The school is located originally in Fontainebleau, but then in Avon. Among the pupils of the Ruche in Avon, there is an English writer, Dorothy Bussey. The school closed in 1900, 3 years after the death of Caroline, and then she left for England and opened a second school there called Allenswood in London. And one of her students in Allenswood was Anna Eleanor Roosevelt, who became the first lady. In these two institutions, she advocates for young girls' autonomy and reflection associated with independence. And at the time, these precepts ran counter to the values of the Victorian society. So she was very, very much countercultural in that regard. And she died in the United Kingdom in Allenswood. Then we have Johanna Mansfield Macy, Sullivan, born to Thomas Sullivan and Alice Sullivan, better known as Annie Sullivan, who was best known, of course, as Helen Keller's teacher and companion.
Amazing teacher and companion.
Yeah. Incredible, incredible.
I would not know where to even begin trying to teach somebody who cannot see or hear.
Yeah. It floored me. I thought, how is that possible? There's no input. Well, there is. There's the hand. There's the touch.
The hand.
Yeah. So it floors the imagination.
That gives a whole new meaning to talk to the hand.
Talk to the hand. Yeah, really. Talk to the hand. But so I did do some investigation, and she had, so when Helen Keller lost her, so she wasn't born deaf and blind. She lost her those senses at 19 months old. So she had them initially as a young child. But then she lost.
You wouldn't be able to remember.
You wouldn't be able to remember that, but she would have been old enough then to have got some concept, I guess, of communicating, right? At 19 months, you communicate a bit with your parents, right? And so she developed some signs, and she herself had sort of 50 signs or signals that she could communicate with her family with. And that's when Anne came to join, I guess that was sort of a starting point, and she used her hand to basically spell words on her hand. And the breakthrough point was when she was spelling on one hand the word water, and on her other hand, on Helen's other hand, she was pouring water. And then Helen, in one of her memoirs, says that was like the skies opened, or her soul opened at that point, and she made the connection that what was happening on her hand was referring to what she was experiencing on the other hand. And then she was so excited, she took her around and had her spell other words of other things in the house that she could point to and feel and stuff. So very impressive. But Anne Sullivan herself was the eldest child of Irish immigrants.
Of
course. Sullivan, with a name like Sullivan, why not? Her father was alcoholic and deserted the family 2 years after getting there. Her mother died from consumption. So like all those Irish novels that have very sad endings because of all the tragedies, this is typical. But she was almost went blind from an untreated trachoma. Luckily, she had several successful eye operations that improved her sight.
Isn't that ironic?
It is. But it was because of that, and because she was, and she learned to use the manual alphabet, meaning by the hand, to communicate with a friend who was both deaf and blind before she met Helen. But because of that, because she was in the Perkins School for the Blind when she had lost her sight before the operations were successful, she was in the Perkins School for the Blind. And it was because of being there that she was recommended to Helen's family that she should be her tutor, or should try. And so that's how that initial connection came about. And then she became the tutor to their blind, deaf, and mute daughter. And then the rest is history. And there's a very nice profile here, lots of stuff. She married John Macy, who actually was Helen's cousin, an 8th cousin, so a pretty distant cousin, but still.
You never know, though, because of all those families, you lived all close together.
Yeah. So distant genealogically speaking, but obviously close enough that they're there. And then we have Emma Willard. Emma, born Hart, daughter of Samuel Hart and Lydia Hart, Lydia Hinsdale, born in 1787. So this is one of the oldest profiles, I believe. She was an American educator who dedicated her life to women's higher education. She established and conducted the famous Troy Female Seminary in Troy, New York, which is considered the first U.S. collegiate level education institution for women. She wrote geography and history textbooks that were widely used in the schools at the time, and trained and influenced hundreds of teachers. So early on, she had a huge influence over education. And it talks about, she was the daughter of a Revolutionary War hero. She was the 16th of 17 children. Remember back earlier, someone was the 15th of 17. she's the 16th of 17 children. Now, his 17 children.
Poor mother.
I know. Well, this 17 was divided between 2 wives. I think the first one was all one, though I don't know if it's specified. So her early education were supplemented because she wanted to learn more, and she taught herself topics like geometry and astronomy. And she started teaching herself at 16 or 17, and then she went on to teach and found her own college, and then became the Middlebury Female Seminary. Academy for Female Education. And there weren't textbooks and topics that she wanted them to be, so that's why she created the geography and the history textbook. One of her textbooks, The Republic of America, was referred to by Daniel Webster. So I keep it near me as a book of reference, accurate in facts and dates. Daniel Webster, famous for the Webster's Dictionary. So that's pretty high praise coming from someone else who's written such important reference material. So very impressive. And the last one I'm going to end with is Laura Elizabeth Ingalls Wilder, which is always funny because, you know, having grown up seeing, you know, Little House on the Prairie on TV and all that stuff, it's easy to forget that she's not just a TV character, but actually she was a real live person. Of course, famous for her book, Little House on the Prairie. Born in 1867 in Pepin County, Wisconsin, to Charles Ingalls and Caroline Quiner. They traveled by covered wagon, spending time in Indian Territory that was not yet open to homesteading in Kansas, Minnesota, and Iowa, and later settled in Dakota Territory in 1880. And here's her connection to this topic, because she, at age 15, again, just like the previous one at 15, who was at 15 or 16, age 15, Laura became a rural school teacher. And then in 1885, she married Alonzo Wilder. They had a daughter, Rose, and a son who died shortly after birth. They had lots of struggles, and her husband got diphtheria. He regained the use of his legs, but used a cane for the rest of his life. There's some fire. They moved a number of different places, Missouri, they're in Florida, and lots of stuff. They lost all their savings in the stock market crash. And it was because of that, and after her mother and her sister passed away, that she decided she was going to preserve her memories, and that's when she started writing the Little House on the Prairie books. And it was because of those books that they were able to basically sort of that maintain them for the rest of their life in terms of funds and stuff. And her place is now a museum, receiving thousands of visitors a year. There we go.
That's it. That's it. One of the things that we were talking about in the chat was about the cookbook from the summer.
Oh, yes.
And Melissa says she collects them, so she's going to be out looking for them. I want to do something mean. Here we go.
Okay.
Okay, so on to quickly. We're going to do the photos of the week. Let me make that bigger. So, do you think it's a hat or do you think it's a hairstyle? It's all hairstyles.
What?
Yes.
No way. I would have said that was a hat for sure.
I think it's a hat. If you look at it, the hat has a different texture than her hair.
Yes.
And that's from Joyce. And she thinks it's her hair. Or maybe a hat. She's not sure.
No,
but I also liked when they had these cool embossed frames that they would put them on.
Those are neat, yeah. And
here there's writing in her hair, copyright held by, okay, so.
What?
Yeah, there's a copyright. T. Rudd has and it was given to M. Paul. Melanie, amazing that somebody put the copyright in the hair for this.
Oh my goodness.
So it looks like she has one of those hair nets on because you can see like a little line right there.
Yes.
Yeah. Huh. All right, here we go. This is a great aunt Frances Pritchard, popular Gibson girl hairstyle. All right. Look at all the frilly stuff on that dress.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is 1929 Eunice Alexander Hennon.
Oh my goodness.
Popular style in the 20s.
You know what? She looks like, her hairstyle looks like the secretary from the Beverly Hills.
Jane Hathaway.
Yes.
Everybody impressed that I knew that?
That's very impressive. Yes.
Marion Montford Rogers.
Oh, wow.
So wavy. Hairstyle. Okay. 1970. This is John Thompson. This is John Thompson.
Oh.
That's very good. Let's see. 1960s. I can tell this one. Oh, there's more there. Yeah. Let's go on down. Up, bald. My grandfather had that hairstyle. My brother had that hairstyle. But I really like the horse's hairstyle the best.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the horse, very impressive.
Where's Sarah? We've got a horse.
Oh yeah. Oh, and there's like a solar flare around his mane. You know, it's just like.
Yeah, it's great. Let's see. That's 1919. Ivy and Myrtle Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. That's a nice picture.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
Hairstyle. My great uncle, Hal, showing his teen fashion. All right. My grandmother painted by her daughter. That's nice. That's Priscilla. That's Melissa. Hey, Melissa. Melissa, do you ever find notes about family history in those cookbooks? I do.
Yeah.
And that's the photos of the week. I want to jump over quickly and go straight to the stuff because we're running out of time here.
Okay.
WikiTree challenge number 18. Register now to research Olivia Newton-John.
Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah, of course. And of course, the Sourceathon is coming up soon. That will be September 30th through October 3rd. I have a conference to do that weekend.
No.
I have a vendor thing to do for one of the DNA companies that weekend.
Oh my.
And I have the Sourceathon. I will be here though. I'm going to be here.
You're going to be here. Good. Yeah. I have to play for a wedding that weekend as well as the regular masses and stuff. But other than that.
All right. So the Sourceathon, get yourself signed up. All you have to do is answer this post and say, sign my Appalachian. Do you have an Appalachian team? That's what I want to know.
Oh.
Thumb up. I would jump from the cornbread patchers to the Appalachian team, if there is one. Here we go. Or the cornbread patchers. See, this is all you have to do to sign up. Did I spell Appalachian wrong? I sure did.
Yeah, you missed an A, yeah, there.
And it's telling me there's something wrong with cornbread.
The Appalachian apples?
Oh, I had it spelled. No. Appalachian apples? No.
Acorns? No.
There we go. I'm signed up. And if there's an Appalachian team, hint, 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 Janine. Okay. So that's all you have to do to sign up. Let's see.
Nice.
Oh, and if you have a prize you'd like to donate, you could do that.
Oh, that's nice.
We've got WikiTree Day coming up. So much is coming up.
Very exciting. Yes.
Yep, I will be there for that.
I'll be there too. I think I'm doing a live show for something about my apps.
Are you?
Yep.
Are you going to be lending your deep voice to something?
Yes, I will.
Yeah.
Yes. The specifics aren't ironed out, but I'm going to be doing some live cast about my apps or some of my apps. So.
Yes. That's always great. And then Scott Turo, if you have some Russian research expertise, give them a shout. Give Ava Kajawa a shout because she's good on Eastern European stuff. I'm imagining Russia's good there too, Mindy. If you're the one lurking in the background. So.
You there.
Let's see. I think the Appalachians were appropriating the Virginia team are talking about it. Okay. So that is the stuff that's going on, coming up. I also want to mention that my good friend Greg just had a big anniversary.
Ooh, I did. 35 years.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Julie. We support you, Julie.
I'll tell her. Yep.
Oh, let's see.
Mm-hmm.
John's nephew's birthday is on the. Let's see. Susan had another comment. One thing that immigrant women needed, though, was to know where the cuts of meat found in U.S. butchers came from on the cow. The names and the cuts were different from where they came from. That's interesting. And you're getting some happy anniversaries.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. I liked the pictures of you dancing. Were you dancing? Oh, John's 40th is coming up.
Ooh,
were you dancing? Was that a real live picture of you dancing this past week?
Not this past week.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say that was really cool that you did that. So that's the live cast for this week.
Yeah.
Check out all the challenges coming up, and be sure to sign up for the Sourceathon, and sign up for the WikiTree Day that's coming up in November, and sign up for the Sourceathon, and sign up to help with the Russian research with Scott Zuro. Did I cover everything?
And Olivia Newton-John's
Olivia Newton-John.
All of that.
You're the one that I want. All right, and that was the that I was singing the other part, not Olivia's part.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay. So we will see you next week.
See you next week.
Same place, same channel, same time. And let me get this loaded here. There we go. See you guys.
See ya. Bye.